Hey, it's Brad with KINNETIC Off-Road. Today we're going to be installing the Factor 55 Hawse Fairlead. So I just converted from a cable to a synthetic rope and needed a Fairlead for synthetic rope. And of course Factor 55 is best in the business, so I went ahead and bought this. I bought the 1.5" version, which theoretically, I guess industry standard is about 3/4 of an inch thickness of the aluminum. But this thing is huge. It's honking. But it's an 1.5", so puts less stress on the rope itself if you're doing high angular pulls. So aluminum, so it's lighter than the metal. And good thing is getting rid of this nasty piece of junk. I've only had that for coming up on 2 years now, and it's already started to rust out. So that's another positive thing of the aluminum, is it won't rust. So I've already done all the prep work. I'll show you in the video. So run into a few issues putting on this Fairlead. So I guess the size for these holes is not necessarily standard. Thankfully, the width between the holes and the size of the holes are standard, but this right here is not standard. And if you line up the holes, there's some metal on the back side. And your rope is supposed to be sliding on these smooth edges that are rounded out right here. So if you have sharp metal edges right there that are narrower than this hole, then you can be cutting your rope. So the Factor 55 says that in the instructions. You may have to widen the hole depending on the bumper producer. So I'm working on that right now. It's just taking a while. So running into a few issues. I have to keep grinding on this top piece until it's pretty thin to get it to not cause any issues. You can see up there, there's still an edge showing, and the back end is rounded out on this. And also, when I'm grinding too much and getting it too hot, this thin little piece is starting to warp a little bit, which I can hammer it back in, make it flat, but I'm starting to think that little thin piece probably offers no support. So what I might do is just cut that little top piece off. That'd give me access to the rest of this so I can smooth out the edges, and then bolt on the Fairlead. And I don't think it'll cause any kind of structural issue. We'll see, maybe it will. So now I removed that thin piece of metal on top and opened up that area where the Fairlead's gonna go. I also dremeled after grinding, and then I also sanded with sandpaper to remove any rough edges on this back side especially. And now this is just smooth, smooth, smooth. Won't cause any issues. If the rope happens to come in contact with that metal part, which it shouldn't because I've widened this out significantly, then there'll be no fraying of the rope or snagging or cutting of the rope, which would be catastrophic. The other issue I ran into is I have the bolts from the previous Fairlead, which was for the cable, but I guess since it's aluminum, the thickness is more than on the previous Fairlead, and so the bolts barely stick out the back end. And when you put it up through here, there's hardly anything sticking out. So nothing you can purchase a nut on the washers or the lock washers. So I'll have to go to Home Depot and get a couple more bolts that are actually longer than this. Now I'm going to clean this up, paint it, and then I'll have to go get some more bolts. And once we get those bolts, then we can finish the project. So these are the bolts that I got from Home Depot to replace the other bolts. I just needed a longer bolt so it would fit through this really thick aluminum. And they fit through the Fairlead, so go ahead and attach it. And there it is. New Fairlead.